Very good evening, everyone. I'm Shilpa and I welcome you all to the Shiksha webinar. Well, a job in the banking industry is one of the most sought after career options in the country. Considering the same, today we shall discuss the Institute of Banking Personnel Selection Probationary Officers or IBPS PO exam, specifically how to prepare for the reasoning section. We have already conducted a session on IBPS PO English preparation. You can have a look at it, link of which I'm sharing in the chat box. Also, we have planned a session for IBPS PO mathematics preparation, for which you can register now. Again, I'm sharing the link in the chat box. Okay, now let's welcome our expert for this session. Rajat Khandelwal, you are the Chief Executive Officer at 4D Education Hub. He holds extensive experience in teaching quantitative aptitude and logical reasoning to test takers for several competitive exams. I heartily welcome you, Rajat.
Yeah, hi, thank you.
And to the students, feel free to send your questions to us through Q&A box or in the chat box. I shall try to get all your queries answered by the expert for this session. Now, coming back to you, Rajat. First of all, if you could just briefly tell us about the IBPS PO exam. Later, we can just discuss more on the reasoning section.
So IBPS, I think as all the aspirants must be knowing that IBPS is an organization which conduct exam for probationary officer and clerical selections for banking, right? So today we are going to discuss specifically about PO. Right. So this exam takes place in two parts. First is prelims and second part is mains. This year we'll be having a descriptive paper also. And then after that, there is a round of interview. And then if a candidate gets through all these rounds, he will get the final selection in the PO.
Okay, so basically you just told us about the phases. The first is you said the prelims, then we have the mains and then the interview round, right, Rajat? So this descriptive is in the mains, right?
Yeah, descriptive is basically third phase. After mains, the people who have cleared mains exam, they will be appearing for descriptive. Yeah.
Okay. So as our topic of discussion is topic of discussion is particularly for the reasoning. So can we discuss about the syllabus for the for this particular exam for the reasoning section?
Okay, so I'll just brief you about the weightage and the syllabus simultaneously. So see, the reasoning part consists mainly of the most important topic for reasoning is puzzles, right? If I talk about prelims, around 4 puzzles, that is 20 questions, come from this topic, puzzles, and in mains, around 30 questions comes from puzzles, 25 to 30 questions. Okay. Then apart from this, there is a topic called syllogism, then inequalities, coding, decoding, blood relation, directions. These all topics comes in prelims. Then in mains, we have critical reasoning. There's a topic called input output. These are few topics which comes specifically in mains exam. Okay. So this is the whole syllabus of reasoning.
Okay, thank you, Rajat, for telling us about the syllabus. Yesterday, I was having word with few of the students who want to appear for this examination so that I can understand the problem areas for this examination. So you just talked about the several subsections in the reasoning section, right? If we'll just talk about the analogy.
Yeah, see, analogy topic doesn't come in banking exams.
Okay.
Topic which generally comes in, sometimes it comes in SSC, sometimes in other exams like CLAT and other entrance exams, but analogy topic doesn't actually come in banking exams.
Okay, if I'll just talk about the mathematical or the coded inequalities you just talk about.
Yeah, so the inequalities is an important topic. It's an easy topic. It is a scoring area. It doesn't take much time to solve inequalities, and it is one of the important topics. And it can come either in prelims or in mains. Around 4 to 5 questions comes from this topic, and it is one of the topics which students should attempt first before puzzles and before going into the tougher part. This is supposed to be a easier topic, so we would suggest students to attempt this topic initially in the initial part of exam.
Rajat, I have a follow-up question on this particular subsection, the coded inequalities. Though, as you said that we have to attempt the questions from this subsection first, it is counted as one of the easy topic. So while solving such questions, students have said that they lose concentration. So can you suggest some tips for this?
See, what I would suggest is, see, losing concentration can take place in any topic, be it puzzles or inequalities or any other topic. For that, I think I would suggest students to give as many mock tests as possible. Okay, and give those mock tests in the actual environment which they are going to face in exam. Like they should sit in a secluded place, okay, and they should give exam like that only, so that they will practice it in the actual examination scenario, and that will help them, and that will actually prepare them to face the examination. So concentration will improve if you let yourself go through that kind of situation again and again through mock tests.
Okay. Also, when we had opened up the registration, so we have received few questions. So I would like to add a question to this particular subtopic, is that how to solve symbol-based questions.
See, basically, there are few tricks to solve the symbol-based questions in inequalities. What I suggest is, if you are given some symbols like at the rate, dollar sign, or different symbols for greater than, smaller than. So first, you should write on the left side. You should write all these symbols, and on the right hand side, you should write the meaning of those symbols, like greater than, smaller than, and then try to solve questions by replacing those symbols with these actual signs, and then you will be able to solve it.
Okay. And to the students, I would like to say, rather raising your hands, you can just post your questions in the chat box or in the Q&A box. I will take those questions and I will ask those questions from Rajat. Okay. So next up, I have a question from a student. Uh, where's the maximum number of questions are asked from?
So yeah, as I earlier mentioned, maximum number, almost 40 to 50% of the weightage is from puzzles. So in puzzles, we have different subsections, like we have floor based puzzles, month and year based puzzles, we have box based puzzles, sitting arrangement. So I think you'll get one of each kind. You'll get a floor based puzzle, you might get a box based puzzle, or a year based puzzle, or a circular arrangement with inside outside facing. But the maximum weightage is from the puzzles topic.
Okay, so Rajat, if the maximum weightage is from the puzzle, then is there any tips, is there any tricks to attempt it like with the great accuracy, but with great speed?
Okay, so see, there are many tricks. I mean, see, it is not possible because puzzles is something which you need to solve it. You can't solve it within seconds. You need to spend time. But with practice, you can decrease the time. You can solve a puzzle in, say, 2 to 3 minutes. You could solve it with practice, and there are tricks involved. Like if I have to say verbally, then I can say that what students can do is they can form the possibilities. See, in puzzles, what happens is you get 2 to 3 possible, or sometimes more than 3 possible cases. So try solving them simultaneously. So what happens is when you start solving it, you will get 3 to 4 possibilities, and as you move on, these possibilities will get cancelled, and finally only single possibility will remain, and you will be able to solve the puzzle and solve the questions based on that. So this is a way to do the puzzles.
Okay, so Rajat, if the maximum questions come from the puzzles, then what could be the, I would say, the easiest and the scoring topic?
See, the thing is, apart from puzzles, there are many topics like syllogism, inequalities, directions, coding, decoding. These are supposed to be easier topics, and these are supposed to be the topics which you can solve very fast, quickly. So what we suggest to students is, when you start the paper, you should look for these topics first, select the questions from these topics and solve them. Okay. Once you have solved these around 15 to 20 questions and you are confident, then you move on to puzzles. Yeah, so that should be the ideal strategy.
Okay. I also want to ask you here that does the blood relation questions to come for this paper?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a question related to this: how to attempt blood relation questions.
See, in blood relations, you have different varieties. Like there is a pointing form, indicating form question. There is a family tree based questions. There is a puzzle based question. So, in indicating form, you can solve it orally. Okay, you can solve those questions orally. Then, if questions comes from family tree, then you have to draw a family tree quickly, and then on the basis of that family tree, there are 3 to 4 questions which are asked. So you need to solve those questions.
Okay, so Rajat, when you say that the indicating type of questions from this section, then you just said that we can solve it orally. Can you just give us some example,
Yeah,
if possible? Yeah.
suppose if I ask you, um, what would be the relation? Yeah, suppose you are pointing to a person and you are saying that this guy is uh, my husband's father's brother's son, right? So these kind of questions comes in indicating form, wherein a person will be pointing to another person and he will be describing his relation. Okay. So what you need to do is orally how you can solve it. You keep yourself in the place of that person. Okay. Suppose Ram is pointing towards Sham and Ram is saying that Sham is my mother's husband's brother's son. So what I would do is I'll keep myself in the place of Ram and I'll think, okay, my mother's means I'll think about my mom. Then her husband is my father, his brother is my uncle, and his son. So uncle's son will be cousin. So you can relate it in your family and you will be able to solve it orally.
Okay. Rajat, I remember when I used to give the competitive exams, I also had faced several problems while solving blood relation question because I always get perplexed. So this is not the scenario with me, it's a scenario with the every student. So is there any way, is there any approach that we can accept or we can just perform which can help us to solve such questions? Personally, for example, I would say that my mentor had told me to use the flow chart. Is there any other way to solve it?
Yes, so some people call it flow chart, some people call it family tree. So as I already mentioned that there is a way family tree based method through which you can solve it. But then family tree takes time. So I suggest that if people are comfortable solving it orally, then it will be a lot faster, right? But then see, blood relations is a topic which some people face problem because they are not comfortable with the relations in their family. Agar mujhe, if I'll give you an just example, if I am not comfortable with the relations, like I am confused whether my father's brother will be my maternal uncle or paternal uncle, right? Some people, they don't have big family, they stay in nuclear family, so they are confused about these distance relationships. So they face problem in blood relations, but there are people who stay in joint family and they are very comfortable about these relationships. They get it like this very quickly. So if you are facing these kind of problems, then I would suggest you to draw a flow chart or a family tree, and through that you can solve the blood relations problem.
Okay. So Rajat, next up we have a question from a student and he's saying that, sir, I'm practicing several PYQs and the mocks and I'm facing problem in order and ranking.
Okay.
Okay, and the problem he has quoted as there is the formulas to solve such questions, and however they also need to read some theories and they need to understand when to apply formulas, and also it includes making diagrams. So again, it's a confusion.
Okay.
So yes, if you could help.
What I would suggest is, see, in order and ranking, if you try to mug up formulas, then if there is a slight change in a question, the formula changes, right? That's the problem. So you have to mug up many formulas and then you have to be sure that which formula you need to apply in which type of question. So I would suggest is first understand the whole concept, understand the fundamentals on which the order and ranking questions are based. Okay. So what I suggest is, if there are suppose 40 students, okay, and they are sitting in a straight line and you need to solve question based on that. So what I suggest is, don't take 40 students, just take 5 students. Okay. And whatever is asked in question, you apply that concept in those 5 students. So if you apply that concept in these 5 students, you will be able to get the concept, what is the concept behind that question. and then you will apply that concept in that those 40 students, and you will be able to solve it. It's actually, it's difficult to tell verbally. It's very good if I can use pen and paper, and I can explain it through that. But then what I would suggest is, don't mug up formulas, understand the concepts, and then try to apply those concepts.
Okay. Coming to the next subtopic, Rajat, you just talked about the syllogism,
Yes.
right? So here the candidates need to understand the theory first again.
Right.
So sometimes they have to use the Venn diagram to solve certain questions. So are there any other approaches that we can discuss which can help to solve such questions?
See, there are approaches, there are methods with which you can solve it quickly, but then I won't suggest them to go through those methods. There is a method where you take values 50, 100 and you solve through them. Okay, there are some other methods also. There are methods like you get these methods in different books. There is a method where it's like mugging up. If sum and all is given in statement, these all conclusions will be valid. If these statements are given, these are conclusions are valid. But nowadays, what is happening is every year IBPS is introducing new kind of questions. So if you go through a shortcut without understanding the fundamentals, you will get stuck. So the basis of syllogism is Venn diagrams. If you are good at and it doesn't take much time to draw the diagrams. It's very fast. And once you are, you are practicing it well, then sometimes you can skip the diagrams and you can solve orally also. But orally also you have to think through diagrams only. So the basis of syllogism is Venn diagrams. I would suggest you go through those Venn diagrams only, and through that you will be able to solve it accurately. Otherwise, there are chances of getting it wrong.
Rajat, I think many students have problem related to the approach. So let's say this question is from the data sufficiency. Again, the puzzles and the data sufficiency. So this student is saying that he has a problem in deciding approach because it requires a critical and the analytical thinking.
Okay. So see, data sufficiency is something which is based on all the topics of reasoning. In data sufficiency, you will get questions from directions, blood relations, puzzles, syllogism. Every topic, each and every topic of reasoning can come under data sufficiency. So to understand data sufficiency, first of all, you should be well versed with these topics. Once you're confident with these topics, then you have to apply the concepts of data sufficiency. In data sufficiency, basically you need to know that you don't have to solve the whole question. You just need to understand which data is essential to solve the question. If you are able to identify that, okay, data which is given in first statement is sufficient enough to solve the question, then you don't need to find the answer. Some students, what they do is they just look at the questions and they start solving. So you don't have to solve, you just have to look at the data. You just have to frame a picture in your mind. Okay, this data is given, that means I'll be able to find this. And if you can frame this picture in your mind, you can solve data sufficiency orally. You don't need to find the actual answer. You just have to find whether you can solve the question with the information given or not.
Okay, let's take up the next question. Is there any sequence we should follow while attempting questions? Like you said that attempt puzzle first, then the coding. Is there any sequence?
As I already mentioned, sequence is there. What I suggest is you first solve the questions. Keep puzzles for last. Keep puzzles for last, because see what happens is, even if you are confident in puzzle, okay, suppose you started with a puzzle and you have spent say 5 to 7 minutes in a puzzle and then you get stuck. So your morale will be down. You will panic, and there is a probability that all the questions which are um, lined up next, they will get affected. So that's why we suggest is puzzles is basically high risk, high return game. So keep it for the last. You solve the questions which are very easy and which doesn't take much of your time, like syllogism, coding, decoding, directions, inequalities. Solve these questions. Have 15 to 20 questions in your kitty, and then you move on to puzzles.
So the Rajat, the syllabus itself is very vast for this examination. So what all books would you suggest, particularly for the reasoning, so that a student can practice?
See, rather than books, I'll suggest the books also. See, there is a book from Arihant Publication. Okay, if you want to start with the basics, R.S. Agarwal is the book which has very basic level of questions, but it's good. Okay, those kind of questions don't generally come in exam, because nowadays the level of examination is increased vastly. So those kind of questions won't come, but these are the those questions will form the base, will form the foundation. Okay, after that, if you are comfortable with the basic concepts, then you can move on to higher level questions. You can purchase the book of Arihant publication or from Bankers Atta. And apart from books, I think online there are many websites which has good content. So I would suggest you can refer those websites and you can solve questions from there.
Okay. Rajat, I guess students have problem with the blood relationship questions, I guess. So Chandu has this question. So if you could just explain a bit more on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to be good at blood relations, first you need to understand what are the different types of relations which exist. Like you need to understand what will be your father's brother, how will your father's brother will be related to you, your father's mother will be related to you, your father's wife's mother will be related to you. You need to understand all these things in your family. Okay. So once you are comfortable with these relationships, you know the name of these relationships, then you need to apply these things in the questions. Then you have to understand there are different types of questions which are asked. Like I already said, indicating form is there, questions based on family tree, and then there is a question which is like coded relations, wherein you will get questions like a plus b means a is father of b, a minus b means a is mother of b. So these kind of questions are there, where also you can solve it orally, but if you're not comfortable orally, initially you start with solving using family tree. So understand how to draw the family tree, learn the concepts, read theory from a good book or watch some videos, or if you have joined any coaching, you just get the concepts clear, understand how to approach the questions, and then start practicing using family tree. And once you are comfortable with family tree, then try to solve it orally.
Okay. So Chandu, I hope sir has explained your questions really very well. And even this is something that you can practice in your daily routine. Right, Rajat?
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is these topics are something which are, which we come across in day-to-day life. So it's very easy to apply these concepts.
Okay. Next up, we have a question from Harshu, and he's asking about puzzle and setting arrangements.
So see, puzzle is something which you can't ignore. Okay, you can't actually clear the exam if you are not good in puzzles. Okay, because as I already mentioned, maximum weightage is from puzzles. So what you need to do is in puzzles is, as I already mentioned, start with the basic puzzles, like the puzzles which are given in R.S. Agarwal book. These are very basic puzzles. Start with that. Start understanding the questions. People generally they if they are not comfortable in puzzles because they can't understand the proper language. So first understand the language of the questions, understand, read the puzzle, note all the information in shortcuts, and then try to apply it in circular or linear arrangement. Okay, you have to be very clear, you have to be very organized in solving puzzles. Otherwise, if you miss even a single information, your whole 5 to 7 minutes gets wasted. The important thing in puzzle is you should be very organized, you should concentrate properly, because it takes time, it needs your concentration, it takes efforts. You can improve it with practice more and more puzzles. What I suggest is you solve 10 puzzles daily. Make it a habit, like you read newspaper, you do your daily routine, you make it a part of your routine that you need to solve 10 puzzles daily. So in a month you will be solving around 300 puzzles. That will give you a good boost of confidence.
So Rajat, next up, we have a question. Does NCRT help in any way to create a base for reasoning?
No. See. The thing is, these topics were never a part of our school curriculum. If you have given exams like NTSC or KVPY or Olympiads, then you might have read these topics. Otherwise, it was not the part of our school curriculum. So I don't think NTSC will help you with logical reasoning. It will help you with maths. It will help you with English, but not with logical reasoning.
Okay. Next up, Neha has this question. I am worried if the questions will come difficult in the exam. Will solving PYQs help to understand the difficulty level of the exam this year?
Absolutely, it's a must. It's a must. See, questions will come, difficult questions will come because nowadays level of IBPS is very high. Okay, 5 years ago, the level of questions and today's level of questions, there's a big difference. There's a vast difference, right? So competition is high, level of questions would be high. So you need to prepare. You need to solve previous year questions. You need to solve as many mock tests as possible. That will prepare you for the exam.
Okay, Rajat. So, for for the very naive people, solving reasoning takes time. So, how we can just improve and analyze our performance even when we are just attempting mocks or PYQs at home?
So what you need to do is you need to track record of your mock test. Start giving sectional tests. Suppose you know that you have problems in reasoning. So don't give full length test, give sectional test of reasoning and analyze each section properly. After every test, analyze the areas where you are, suppose in syllogism, you have given 5 tests and after analyzing you find out that in syllogism I am consistently getting negative marks. So you need to understand, okay, so there must be some problems with my basic concepts of syllogism. So you need to again go back to your basics. You need to brush up your basics, practice the questions, and then again apply those things in mock and see if your performance is improving. Okay, so you need to keep track of your mocks, try increasing your accuracy, then try increasing your number of attempts.
So, Rajat, when we just be at home and we are just self-preparing, what could be the right way to attempt mocks? Because I remember our mentor used to say that just remove all sort of distraction. How we can just. So, my question to you is that how we can create that proctored environment.
If you are at home, okay, what you need to do is, suppose, see, there are different time slots for exams, right? There is morning slot, afternoon slot, evening slot. Try to give exam your mock test in those slots only. Some students, what they do is in the night from 10 to 12 they give mock. So I would suggest don't do that. Okay, first of all, your timing should be important. It should be, say, between 10 to 4 o'clock where actual exams take place, right? So that you are in that mindset. Then you need to close your door. You can remove or keep your phone away. Whatever uh, protocols are taking place in actual exam, you need to follow that in your mock test. Keep your phone away because phone is a major distraction. What people do is they are giving mock and suddenly there is a notification and they just, instinctively they will just look into their phone. So this creates distractions. In actual exam, you won't be allowed to take your phone. So do that. Keep your phone away, keep your phone in the other room, lock your room, and then give the mock. So this is something which you need to do yourself. You need to take effort in this.
Right. So basically, we have to be true to ourselves with a well determination that yes, we are in some exam and we are just giving the exam. Okay. So the next up, we have a question from Rahul, and he's saying, "Can I self prepare this examination as I'll be appearing for this examination next year? How can I prepare?" There are three questions Rahul has asked. Okay, Rajat. So the first is, can he self prepare for this examination? And the second is, how can he prepare? And also, there's a one, I think he feels that that's a challenge. He's from the Hindi medium.
So okay, I'll go one by one. So yeah, Rahul, you can see, this question is basically very subjective. It depends on person to person, right? I don't know whether your basic concepts, how good are you on your basic fundamentals. So if you are very good as a student, if you have been a good student all throughout your schooling, then you can do self preparation. But if you need help, you need to analyze that yourself. If you need help, if you are facing difficulties in understanding the concept yourself, then you need to seek help. Okay, so that is something which you should take the call on that, right? Second question was how you should prepare, right? So see, the very good thing about today's era is that there are lots of material which is readily available, be it in the form of books, be it in the form of like online stuff. There is no dearth of questions. There are many questions which are available online freely, right? You need to purchase a good mock tests, okay, because mock test you need to give regularly. and you need to judge your performance among all the students which are giving the mock test nationwide, right? So solve questions. You can look into videos in YouTube. There are many videos which give a very good understanding of the basic fundamentals. So you can use these resources to prepare yourself. Okay. And if suppose after preparing for a month you are facing problem, then you can seek help and you can join any coaching institute. And the third question was.
Third question is, he feels that from Hindi medium, it's a challenge in itself.
Right. So see, so Rahul, if you are actually going to give exam in Hindi, then I don't think it is a challenge, because if you are going to appear in exam in Hindi, then I think, see, these topics, no, there are some topics which are actually very good and very easy to solve in Hindi, like blood relations. In English, the language might be complicated, but Hindi, if I translate the question in Hindi, most of the students would be able to solve it, right? So I think it is easier to solve logical reasoning questions in Hindi. Okay, so if you are going to appear in your examination in Hindi medium, then it's not a challenge, but ultimately it's a boon basically, right? But you will be facing English section as well, so you need to actually work on your English, irrespective of whether you will be giving in Hindi medium or not.
Okay. So as I can see, Harshu Sakarde has this question. Though you have already told us about the name of some books, if you can just repeat.
Yeah, so the books I mentioned was for fundamentals. You can go through R.S. Agarwal. Then you can go to either Arihant Publications book. You can go for Banker Sadda books. You can go for a puzzle book is there from Olive Board. It has high level puzzle, so you can refer that book for puzzles also.
Okay. So the next up, we have a question. Exam is scheduled for the next month, sir. How we should chalk out our daily plan targeting this exam?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah. So see, suppose if we take a time frame of 1 month, okay. So you have 4 weeks, right? So what you need to do is puzzles you need to solve daily. Okay, so if you solve say 10 puzzles, you will be solving around 300 puzzles, which will be enough, I think, to give you a confidence, right? So puzzles you need to solve daily, 10 puzzles. Apart from that, you keep 3 to 4 days for each topic. Like for syllogism, fundamentals you read on one day, then solve questions for next 3 days. Then blood relations, then directions, then inequalities, all the topics you can do like that. Okay. Puzzles you need to solve on daily basis because it is the most important topic.
Rajat, I guess students have problem related to the speed and accuracy, because the next question I have received is questions from the easy topic can be answered with a common sense, but I feel we lack in attaining the speed and accuracy required to attempt questions. How we can work on this factor? So this is the question.
See, speed and accuracy ultimately comes with practice. There's no shortcut to it, right? So what you need to do is you need to solve at least 500 questions from each topic. If you start first 200 you solve with proper approach, then you start trying to solve without pen, orally. So you might initially take more time orally. You might feel that I'm taking more time if I solve it orally, but then you will feel the urge to use pen, but then you need to resist that. You need to continue doing that. In next 50 to 100 questions, you will see that you will increase your speed considerably. Okay. So first 200 questions, solve using pen, then start solving orally. Try to solve orally. If you solve 500 questions in a topic, I guarantee you that your accuracy and speed won't be a problem for you.
So the next up, we have a question related to input and output. So I think this student has problem with input and output.
Okay, so input and output generally comes in mains exam. Okay, input and output is like computer programming. There will be an input, there will be steps. You need to analyze those steps, and you need to reach the output. Okay, in input output you can get questions which have concept of coding decoding, which have concept of number series. All these chapters you need to be good with to solve input output questions. And then again you need to understand the fundamentals, how to approach the question. You need to go to theory, read the theory properly, understand the fundamentals, and then practice the questions.
Okay, Rajat, we have another question. Is there any multi-concept questions for this examination?
There are, see, in puzzles you can get questions from blood relations, seating arrangement, directions. In, as I said, in input output you can get the concepts of number series, you can get the concepts of coding decoding, right? Data sufficiency, you will get concepts from all the chapters. So there are few topics, you know what IBPS does is they combine these 2 3 topics and they create a question in the form of puzzle or something like that. So yeah, you might get.
Okay. Considering the time we are left with, I'm just launching a poll here so that we can understand whether you are liking this webinar or not. So I hope this is visible to all of the students. Question 1 says, was this session helpful? You can reply it in a yes or no. And the second is, would you like to recommend this Shiksha counseling webinar to your friends? You can done the rating from 1 to 10. 1 is being not at all likely and the 10th being extremely likely. Meanwhile, they're just polling, Rajat. I'll ask you a few more questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a very common question. How many questions come in IBPS PO examination, sir?
So yeah, in prelims 35 questions are there, okay, and you'll get 20 minutes of time to solve these 35 questions. In mains, in LR, 45 questions are there, but then in mains, computer awareness and LR, they come in one section. So out of 45, around 6 to 8 questions will be from computer awareness also. Okay, but as a section, 45 questions are there, and marks will be 60 marks, and you'll get 1 hour to solve those 45 questions.
So the next questions, 2 3 questions which I have received is related to the revision strategy because very less time has been left now.
Yeah, so see, as I mentioned, revision strategy could be like this only. You solve puzzles daily. Okay, you solve, if you want to prepare for mains also from the beginning, you can solve critical reasoning also daily, and rest all the topics. Just give 3 to 4 days to each topic. And then through mock test, you need to analyze your weaknesses. If suppose you identify that 3 to 4 topics are weak, again go to the concepts, again read theory, and then solve the questions. That would be the right approach.
I had received one question during this registration only. We have 3 sections, mathematics, English, and reasoning. So how our timetable should look like for the practice of all the sections with the targeted time limit? Yeah, this is the question of the Nisha. Yeah.
See, the timetable may vary according to the needs of different students. Okay, some of them might be weak in English, a few might be weak in math. So the areas which you are weak in, you need to give more time to that, right? Generally, in a generalized way, if I want to say, I would say that English you should try solving through sectional test daily. You can give 2 hours to English and 3 hours to maths and 3 hours to reasoning. This is very generalized, but then it depends on needs of the individual person.
So we have few more questions. Alfisha has this question: how do I inculcate my IBPS preparation in the UPSC preparation schedule? I know that's a mixed kind of question, but still, if you can just share any guidance.
See, basically UPSC, the preparation of UPSC is basically totally different. If you are preparing for UPSC, you need to focus on very different areas. If you are preparing for IBPS, you need to prepare in a very different way. I mean, these two don't go hand in hand. So I would suggest, if suppose you are preparing for this year's exam, in 1 month you have IBPS PO, then don't think about UPSC. You just focus on IBPS PO, and once you are done with that, then you can move on to your UPSC preparation.
So next up, we have a question: how do we get the questions from the Chinese coding and how to solve it?
Okay. So see, Chinese again. See, I can't explain it orally, right? Chinese coding is something you need to find. You need to understand the patterns. You need to understand the links. Okay, how is a particular word being coded? What is the symbol for? What is the number in Chinese coding? Basically, the people who don't know in Chinese coding, what happens is you will get a simple 3 4 words, and you will get a coding like suppose night. So there is night could be coded as suppose N $5. Okay. So you need to understand where does that N come from. So N might come from the first letter of night. Where does that dollar come from? So dollar, you need to link different words and you need to find what is the meaning of that symbol. 5 may be the number of letters in night. So these there are many different kind of coding which is done. So you need to solve those questions and you need to find the links between symbol, numbers, and letters.
Okay. Next up, we have a question. How many mocks should I solve in a day, sir, or in a month?
Not more than one mock in a day. Okay. See, if we talk about IBPS PO, you have 1 month for prelims. So what I would suggest is initially at the initial phase of say 10 days, you just solve one mock in 2 days. Okay. And analyze it. Many people, what they do is they just give mocks without analyzing. So if you don't analyze a mock which is given without analyzing is a waste. Okay. So if you are giving 1 hour for your mock, you should give 2 hours for analysis. Solve it without time frame, then understand which questions you have done negative, wrong, and then you need to understand which questions you have taken more time in. So you need to understand your strengths and your weakness through mocks, and then once you are comfortable, then start. You can increase the frequency, but not more than one mock in a day.
So we have another question, Rajat. It's related to our reasoning topics different for IBPS PO prelims and mains.
Good question. Okay, see, not exactly. There are few topics which are particularly asked in mains, like data sufficiency, critical reasoning, and input output, I can say. Rest all the topics, they can come in prelims as well as mains. So if suppose syllogism is asked in prelims, then there are chances that it won't be asked in mains. But then if it is not asked in prelims, it might get, it might be asked in mains. So most of the topics are like this. Few topics are specifically pertaining to mains, which are which are critical reasoning and data sufficiency and input output.
Rajat, we would like to have some do's and don'ts from you.
So I think I've already mentioned everything. So see, what I would suggest is you need to don't directly go for shortcuts. Okay, what some people do is they keep looking for shortcut tricks without understanding the basic fundamentals. So basically, IBPS exam is very concept based exam. It is a good level exam. Like see, in SSC the level of reasoning is very low as compared to IBPS. In SSC you will get repetitive questions. So in SSC you can just mug up the tricks and you can solve it. But that doesn't happen in IBPS. So you need to be very good with your basic fundamentals. Don't go for any shortcuts without understanding the fundamentals. When you are well versed with the fundamentals, then you go for practicing the questions, solve as many varieties of questions as possible, solve many questions, improve your accuracy, improve your speed. This is basically the right approach for reasoning. And don't neglect puzzles, solve as many puzzles as possible. And other topics you might choose, say if there are 8 topics, you might choose 6 to 7 topics, but then puzzles is a must.
Okay. Rajat, next up, Gajela has this question. How many questions should we attempt correctly in each section to crack mains? Though it's related to mains.
Okay, mains, for mains. Okay, see, that actually depends on the level of examination, but ideally I would say around 30 to 35 questions in each section would be safe attempts, would be considered as safe attempts for mains.
Next up, we have a question. So, how to clear concepts and theory doubts when doing self-preparation?
So see, basically you need to follow a good book, or you need to follow a good source where you will get authentic, proper fundamentals. You need to follow that. You need to understand the concepts. If you feel that you need any help, if you are not able to understand it yourself. Seek some help from your seniors or from any teacher available at your place. You need to seek that help. You can watch YouTube videos also from good sources. So these are the areas where you can learn from and then apply those concepts in your questions.
Okay, we have a question. What sort of newspaper we should read for the IBPS PO examination for the preparation point of view?
Okay. So see, newspaper, I think the Hindu is the best newspaper for either IBPS or any other exam. Okay. But then what happens is if you are a starter, Hindu might, you will feel that it's bit boring. Okay. So if you want something of a more masala kind of newspaper, you can go for Times of India. Okay. Start reading Times of India and then you can move to the Hindu.
Thank you, Rajat. And with this, I would like to wrap up this session. So today, what we have understood briefly about the IBPS PO examination and topic-wise preparation strategy. Also, Rajat shared some tips and tricks. He told us about the mocks, PYQs, revision strategy. He also talked about the time management and he shared some do's and don'ts. Thank you, Rajat, for guiding us and making us confident to face this exam.
Thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure.
Rest, thanks to all of you for being the part of this session and raising queries. And if you still have any questions, then post webinar, you can share your questions here. I'm sharing link in the chat box. You can post your questions here and our subject expert will guide you. And with this, I'm Shilpa signing off. Till then, take care and keep checking our Shiksha portal for the upcoming webinar. Thank you.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel.